The palace has fallen, Lily said, clutching her abdomen as she stumbled into the hall, a South-Chi blade piercing her body. My maid of over 20 years drew her last breath after speaking those words. I trembled as I closed her eyes and stood, walking toward the hall's exit. To meet my long-absent younger brother, the emperor who had broken the peace treaty. The palace ran red with blood, dismembered limbs lay scattered. Servants and guards who had once laughed beside me were now cold, mangled corpses. Edward's little sister, the girl who once called me sister-in-law with a smile, only 13 years old, lay sprawled in blood, her clothing in disarray, eyes wide with unfinished life. I draped my cloak over her body, my hands trembling, unable to close her eyes myself, for it was my maternal family who had humiliated and killed her. Alice, the South-Chi troops will be here soon. They'll escort you home, I heard a familiar voice, hurriedly rising. It was Edward, King of Northrealm, my husband. He was dying. Like Lily, his body was slashed by South-Chi's willow leaf blades, and the arrow piercing his abdomen bore the mark of my brother. Edward, this is my home. I'm going nowhere. Don't leave me alone. I did not cry, I had never intended to survive. Edward handed me his curved sword, smiling gently. Kill me, Alice. You must live. Return to your homeland, find those who destroyed us, and avenge us. The people of Northrealm must not die in vain, they will descend to hell otherwise. I understood. He only wanted me to live. Only by killing him could South-Chi feel secure bringing me back, allowing me to return home as the long-suffering, triumphant princess. Edward grasped my hand without hesitation and drove the sword into his heart. I heard hoofs pounding on the mud. Blood covered my eyes. I had killed my beloved. Alice, cut off my head. Give it to your brother. Let me protect you one last time. I wept uncontrollably, holding his corpse, taking the curved sword to sever his neck. South-Chi soldiers would never leave his body intact, he wanted me to be the one to take his head. In Northrealm legend, those who are dismembered become servants to murderers in their next life. Thus, at least, we might meet again. Edward truly understood me. Now, I did not want to die. I wanted to know why my brother broke the treaty and why he had slaughtered the palace so cruelly. I would find the instigator, whoever it was, I would kill them and release the 3,000 innocent souls of Northrealm. Welcome the long princess back to her homeland. It was Henry, Emperor of South-Chi, my brother. I stepped over Edward's corpse, walking step by step along the blood-stained path toward home. I had gone to Northrealm in marriage for Henry's sake. My father had no faith in Henry, the second prince. After the crown prince's death, the throne would never come to him. I bargained with my father. The King of Northrealm fell in love with me at first sight, and in exchange, Northrealm agreed to cease hostilities. At that time, South-Chi was weak and unable to resist foreign invasions. My father consented, and I was married far away, while Henry assumed the Eastern Palace. The Northrealm king treated me as a precious gem. For 17 years, I had navigated the treacherous court, and for the first time, I saw that royal life was not all bloodshed and scheming. There was no plotting, only the freedom and sincere love of the grasslands. Those 5 years were the happiest of my life, until iron hooves crushed this dream. I congratulate the elder princess on returning to the capital and for personally slaying the King of Northrealm. I regained composure at the palace banquet. Henry rose, acknowledging my status as long princess and congratulating me on killing my lover. I returned his bow with a smile. Beside Henry, the favored consort gazed at me with hostility. After the banquet, I wandered to the cold plum garden, my mother's palace. I hated her, but this was the only place in the palace where I felt even a trace of belonging. The heroine survived? How was the Northrealm not destroyed? How could she not have died? The voice belonged to Henry's favored consort. Heaven knows. The protagonist aura is too strong. Once the white moon returns, where would the two men look at us? Can we even survive the fiery pursuit of love? You orchestrated Henry to break the treaty. I hypnotized Peter to slaughter the royal family. At this point, what more do they want? This story is impossible. I felt a chill. I had heard them speak of the heroine of the story script. Edward's sister, Aranda, was also a world walker. She had said she could never complete her task. Now I understood, the task was to kill me. She could not do it, so she chose to remain in a foreign land. But in the end, she died without her body intact. And the culprit was her compatriot. These two treated human life like straw, destroying countless innocent lives for their mission. The Northrealm royal family were mere stepping stones for them. Returning to the princess's residence, my informants told me that it was Consort Rosa who read the stars and persuaded the emperor to break the treaty. Lydia had used hypnosis to make Peter massacre the Northrealm royal family. Rosa, Lou, Henry, none were innocent. They all must pay for the 3,000 wronged souls. I knew that world walkers had omniscient systems, yet even with divine aid, I, who crawled back from hell, feared no deity. Those who could not kill me could never defeat me. The next day, Henry summoned me to the palace. Turning a corner, I saw a child of 7 or 8 curled up, searching for something. "Sister, you stepped on my pastry," he said. I quickly lifted my foot, a mung bean cake had been crushed. Feeling apologetic, I crouched down. "I'm sorry. Shall I give you a box of pastries?" The child was peculiar, his fine clothing mismatched with the season, dressed in early autumn clothes during winter, face pale from the cold. "Thank you, sister. You're so beautiful." His smile was sincere. I reached to touch his head, intending to remove my cloak for him. "Li Qing. What are you doing?" Consort Rosa grabbed the child. So this was her son. "You are truly ungrateful. You want her to be your mother, don't you?" Li Qing froze, crying, afraid to approach Rosa. Rosa, a mother, made her child wear autumn clothes in winter, yet had the audacity to accuse the boy of being ungrateful. I sneered, shielding Li Qing behind me. Rosa slapped my face. Before I could react, Henry hurried over. "Sister?" Henry held my arm, concerned. "Did she hit you?" The red mark on my face was proof. Henry looked at Rosa coldly. "Guards, confine Consort Rosa for 3 months starting today." Rosa glared at Henry, her expression one of despair. "Henry, you will regret this." "Wait," I called out. She turned toward me, resentment in her eyes. I raised my hand and slapped her face. "I do not like debts left unpaid. You owe so much, it is only right to settle some of it first." Rosa looked at me incredulously. The White Moon heroine, before the male lead, could be so cruel. She did not know that Henry understood me more than anyone. After all, without this cruelty and malice, none of us would have survived. In this cannibalistic palace, who could be kind? At night, I waited in the princess' residence for the peace that would aid my revenge. A month after arriving in the capital, I finally received a messenger pigeon. "This can be done." Smiling, I held the paper to the candle, igniting the performance. News of Eastern's invasion of South Chi spread rapidly. Henry, impulsive and warlike, gave orders without hesitation. This was expected. What surprised me was that on the same day, the emperor summoned me, accusing me of colluding with the enemy and betraying the state. The intelligence I had sent to King Dongha was presented before him. The one intercepting my pigeon and accusing me was General Peter's wife, Lydia. "Li Alice, how do you explain this?" Henry looked at me coldly. Peter knelt. "Your Majesty, the princess must have her reasons. She would never betray the kingdom." Peter had once protected Henry and me, risking his life. When I went in marriage, he had promised to bring me home. I knew he had been hypnotized by Lou and no longer blamed him. I sought revenge but would not involve the innocent. "After all this, you still defend her?" "Peter, how pitifully stupid you are." Lou's voice trembled. She and Rosa were made of the same foolish mold. I stood, ignoring Henry's anger and Peter's concern, and placed the note to the candle. The characters for midday faded, revealing midnight. On the battlefield, every second counts, a 4-hour error is fatal. I told King Donha the truth after the candle burns. Henry laughed, his gaze softening. He knew the midday was a ruse. I had given the enemy false intelligence. Henry had the note tied to the pigeon and sent out. I turned to Lu, smiling. How did you know the route and appearance of the princess's messenger pigeons? Lu Yan's face twisted in shock and fear. She had always relied on the system to predict outcomes, yet now, she realized she was helpless. You must know Emperor Li has begun to distrust Peugeot. In this Eastern He campaign, you never expected this, right? Would you dare to bet? Bet that Peugeot will emerge victorious and return alive to the capital. I smiled at her calmly. Indeed, she could not bet. One wrong move and she would never return home. When will the Emperor kill him? Luine grabbed my sleeve, panicked. The best end for a general is death on the battlefield, isn't it? Find a soldier to secretly stab him as the troops withdraw. Nothing simpler. She let go of my sleeve. She knew I spoke the truth, and once Peugeot died, she would be trapped here forever. I will not let him die. Their system could only predict logic, not human hearts. Human hearts change in an instant. The Emperor, as ruler of all under heaven, decides life and death on a whim. Luine could not afford to gamble. I said nothing further and rose, pushing the door open. She would follow the army into battle, risking her life to protect Peugeot. If she died, she would fulfill her script and return home only in name. My plan had locked her onto this fatal path. I would not allow her a chance to return to her homeland. On the battlefield, blades clashed and blood flowed like rivers. Even the invincible Peugeot teetered on the line between life and death at all times. Only Luine, shielded by her system, moved through the chaos with minimal injury. She donned soldier armor, blending among them. Luine always stayed behind Peugeot, intercepting arrows and sacrificing herself if necessary to shield him. To her, humans were like straw. She had once orchestrated the massacre of the entire Northrealm clan for a mission. From the lookout tower, I watched Luine anticipate and strike enemies repeatedly. I held up the soul bell, shaking it lightly. It was a tool Aranda's sister had purchased with her final points, capable of severing a worldwalker's connection to her system for an hour. If the host died during this time, her soul would be trapped in the bell, never to transcend. Without system guidance, Luine struggled. Her sword flailed wildly. Panicked, she looked toward the bell's sound, and I could see the fear in her eyes even from afar. I set down my bow and aimed a spear tip at her. My archery, taught by Aranda, was precise. Now, a single arrow would pierce her heart. The arrow struck true. She collapsed, the wind carrying the scent of blood, trapped within the soul bell. Peugeot glanced back at Luine, but even he could not wield his sword steadily. He lunged toward her body and was struck by an enemy blade in the chest. I snorted, descending from the lookout. The battle neared its end. Had Peugeot not been struck, this would have been a historic victory. Yet, had the arrow not pierced Luine, Peugeot could not have returned to the capital alive. Emperor Li Jia would not allow a godlike general to return triumphant yet unscathed. A gravely wounded Peugeot would portray the emperor as magnanimous, tolerant, and wise. 1 month later, I lifted my house arrest and met Rosa at the palace gate. You killed Enine, she accused. I nodded calmly. Yes. And you as well. Didn't you know? If I returned alive, you both would die. Rosa was smarter than Luine, she had guessed I knew their identities. Yet now, staring at me, she showed no fear. She sneered, eyes sharp. Do you know how you will die? On the battlefield, swords flashed and lives were like grass. Even the invincible Peugeot constantly teetered between life and death. Only Luine, protected by her system, moved among the blades with barely a scratch. She donned a soldier's armor, blending in unnoticed, always trailing Peugeot. To protect him, she even risked using non-chi soldiers as shields for arrows. Human life was trivial, this was exactly how Luine saw it. Otherwise, why would she have orchestrated the massacre of the entire Bayue royal family for her mission? From the watchtower, I observed Luine preemptively slaying enemies. I lifted the soul-summoning bell, shaking it gently. This was a tool purchased with the last points from Alante, Peugeot's sister, capable of severing a traveler's connection with their system for one time period. Moreover, if the host dies during this period, their soul would be trapped in the bell forever, never to ascend. Lu Yin's movements became noticeably slower. Without system guidance, she had no martial skill and could only swing her sword randomly. Panicked, she followed the bell's sound and looked toward me. Despite the distance, I could see terror in her eyes. I lowered my bow and aimed the spearhead at Luine. My archery was taught by Ayol, precise enough to be called sharpshooting. My arrow pierced through the wind, striking Luine through the heart. She fell with a thud, wind carrying her blood toward me, trapped by the soul-summoning bell. Peugeot turned to her, the great general unable to steady his sword, lunged at her corpse, and was struck through the chest by the enemy. I scoffed and descended the watchtower. The battle was nearly over. Had Peugeot not been stabbed, it would have been a historic victory. Yet had he not been struck by my arrow, he could not have returned to the capital alive. Li Zhao would not let an invincible general return triumphantly, but he could allow a seriously wounded general to come back, making himself appear magnanimous and benevolent. A month after returning to the capital, Jiang Rao was released from confinement. She intercepted me at the palace gate. "You killed Inin." I calmly admitted, "Yes. Not only her, but also you." "Didn't you know? If I returned alive, you would die." Jiang Rao, slightly smarter than Luine, had already guessed I knew their identities. She no longer looked fearful. She sneered, saying, "Do you know how you will die?" Alante had warned me the heroine wouldn't die, but Jiang Rao's certainty made me doubt. "Since we arrived, everything will change. After we die, Li Zhao and Peugeot will hate you, imprison you deep in the palace, poison you daily, and ultimately, you will die by self-immolation." Jiang Rao stepped closer, smiling, "So killing us, what does it matter? You two will meet a grim end." I felt no fear. I was no longer the original Li Zeng. The arrival of the two travelers had altered my fate and transformed me. I would not be a sacrificial lamb. I would not let Li Zhao live to that day. Everyone knew that General Peugeot grieved deeply for his wife's death and went mad, seeking to slaughter all the captives of Donghe. Li Zhao confined him to the general's residence but did not remove his post. When I met Peugeot, he clutched Lu Yin's clothes, bewildered and despondent, as if the Peugeot of old had already died on the battlefield. I looked down at him, speaking clearly, "She is not Luine." Peugeot suddenly looked up. "She is not the Luine you grew up with, she took Lu Jia's body. On your wedding day, Lu Jia was already dead." Peugeot had loved the original, spirited, and determined Luine. That was why, after marriage, he grew increasingly distant from Luine. Peugeot smiled bitterly, staring at the old garment. "I never realized. How could I claim to love her?" He stood and threw the garment into the brazier. "There's one more thing I must tell you. Li Qing is our child, Lu Yin's, and mine." I was shocked. The original Luine and Jiang Rao were already pregnant. After crossing over, Jiang Rao, being out of favor, was poisoned and miscarried. To secure her position, Luine secretly gave her child to Jiang Rao. These two had disrupted countless lives for their own benefit. Jiang Rao altered Li Cheng's destiny but would not give him a shred of love. A prince lived worse than ordinary people. I agreed with Peugeot. He gave me the military command token of the Pei family army and left the general's residence empty-handed. A day later, Peugeot's remains were found under a cliff. The legendary general fell. "Your Majesty, I am destined to have no children. I beg your Majesty to entrust Prince Li Qing to my care." I knelt before Li Zhao, who did not hesitate and helped me up. "It is excellent that my sister wishes to raise Qing'er. How could I refuse?" Jiang Rao had just been confined, her virtue was tarnished. As the wise and upright princess, it was natural I would educate Li Qing. No one could oppose this. Except Jiang Rao. On Li Cheng's first day at the princess's residence, Jiang Rao knelt at the imperial study, performing a heart-wrenching act of a mother separated from her child. But being intelligent, she knew it would not sway Li Zhao. She returned to her chambers after half a day. I prepared winter clothes and plenty of snacks for Li Cheng, partly out of pity, but also because he was Lu Jia's child. The one who had saved me and treated me as a sister deserved care. Thank you for treating me kindly, sister, but I don't want you to be resented by mother consort because of me. Li Cheng had witnessed too many murders by Jiang Rao since childhood, subtle killings without blood. No one resented by a mother consort survived. I pinched his cheeks, smiling, "Don't worry, sister is strong. Nothing will happen to her." At that moment, a maid rushed in. "Your Highness, Consort Rao tried to take her own life." By the time I reached the palace, Li Zhao sat outside Jiang Rao's chamber, frowning. The imperial physician had already left, she was not dead. She had attempted hanging, discovered in time and saved, but how much of this was deliberate design, no one could tell. How dare she? Using her life to threaten me, she really overestimates herself. Li Zhao, enraged, smashed a teacup. I knew he likely still had some genuine feelings for Jiang Rao, but whether it was concern or uncontrolled anger, I could not know. Li Zhao entered the chamber, shortly after Jiang Rao shouted, "Li Zhao! You will regret this. Neither you nor Li Cheng will have peace." She was certain Li Cheng had betrayed her by choosing me, ignoring how she treated him. She trusted she could defy fate and make Li Zhao love her. But relying on a so-called system to follow a set fate, she was merely a puppet. She misunderstood Li Zhao completely, he loved no one, only himself. Ever since he sent assassins to Beiyue, I had known this. He feared me, wanting a sister who perished nobly abroad, not a praised princess returning. I knew even if he now favored me, my life still balanced on a razor's edge. One thought could end it. Unless he died. After that day, Li Zhao rarely visited Jiang Rao's chamber, everyone assumed she had fallen from favor. But I knew Jiang Rao would not yield so easily. A month later, at a palace banquet, Jiang Rao suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Li Zhao panicked and called for the imperial physician, causing chaos. Her nails quickly turned dark blue, everyone knew she had been poisoned, but only Li Zhao and I knew it was Beiyue's special Shilon herb. Li Zhao looked at me, suspicion and fear turning into anger. "Antidote. Li Zeng, I won't ask twice." Jiang Rao could not stop coughing blood, truly poisoned. She clutched Li Zhao's wrist, whispering, "I am dying. Are you satisfied? She killed me, are you satisfied?" Li Zhao's eyes reddened, he suddenly drew his sword, pointing at me. "Give me the antidote." I retrieved a bottle from my sleeve. The officials gasped, seeing my actions as a confession. I split a pill in half, handing one half to Li Zhao. "This poison is only neutralized in half-pill doses, one full pill would be fatal." Li Zhao, believing me, fed it to Jiang Rao. Her coughing ceased, nails turned back to normal, confirming my guilt in their eyes. Li Zhao's gaze at me burned with murderous intent. The imperial physician, relieved, said, "The poison is neutralized." Jiang Rao looked at me, choking on her words, "Why must the princess kill me? Li Cheng is already with you, can you not leave me? Guards, take the princess away and investigate thoroughly." I smiled, applauding Jiang Rao's acting. Among the onlookers who thought me insane, I handed the remaining half-pill to the physician. "Please verify if this pill is truly an antidote." The imperial physician lowered his head to smell the pill, instantly shocked, even looking at Jiang Rao with fear. "This isn't an antidote. Just an ordinary black plum pill." Li Zhao snatched the pill, the scent of black plum was obvious, only masked earlier by Jiang Rao's blood. The pill wasn't an antidote, yet it neutralized Jiang Rao's poison. I knew the system had assisted her, but to others, it looked like the consort colluding with the enemy. Once doubt was planted in Li Zhao's mind, Jiang Rao would never recover her position. "No, it's not her, she tried to kill me." "Your Majesty, Ah Zhao, I am poisoned." "You saw it." Jiang Rao grabbed Li Zhao's sleeve, panicking. Taking the antidote early and staging this in front of me, Jiang Rao, you went all out to frame my sister. Li Zhao stood, ordering guards to drag Jiang Rao into confinement. He ultimately did not kill her, he would never execute her publicly. His reputation mattered more than any display of violence. Jiang Rao was confined in the inner palace, rumored critically ill. But I knew she would not die, even if she did, it would be when Li Zhao loved her most. Her wait was my perfect opportunity. When I visited her, she was weak, seemingly near death. Alante told me that dying here would be their path home. But the emperor sent physicians daily yet never visited. She could not regain favor nor die. I placed a vial of poison beside her bed. This is Duyu, the deadliest poison in the realm. 1 dose is fatal. Jiang Rao looked at me, sneering, why should I trust you? Would you really be so kind? Believe it or not, only a Miao shaman with immunity to all poisons can survive this. The imperial physicians cannot save you. You wanted to die, didn't you? Now you dare not even try? I left the poison and walked away. As expected, Jiang Rao did not use the poison on herself. A maid handed me a black silver needle. The poisoner confessed, it was Consort Rao's person. Has that information reached her ears? It's been handled. I smiled, setting down the needle, then drank the poison tea in front of me in one gulp. Shortly after, I was summoned to the imperial study. Jiang Rao knelt, wearing a victorious smile the moment I entered. You could only be neutralized by a Miao shaman? She poisoned me, yet I did not die, proving I was a shaman. The emperor despised Miao shamans above all. No one knew why, but Li Zhao once ordered all shamans in the city captured and the migrating Miao massacred. Jiang Rao, having crossed over years later, was unaware. If I hadn't secretly informed her, she would not have used this to harm me. From the start, I gave her the poison not to make her die but to hear the words Miao shaman. No commoner knew why the emperor hated shamans so deeply. Jiang Rao, of course, would not reveal to the emperor that she poisoned me. She proposed taking the poison with me. If I survived, it proved I was a shaman, and she would die, returning home. She believed her plan meticulous, yet every step was a trap I set for her. Your Highness, I do not disbelieve you. I have an antidote. Should the poison take effect, I will save you. The antidote for Duyu was unavailable to others, Li Zhao still tried to deceive me. I approached Jiang Rao, drank half the vial decisively, and handed it to her. Your turn. Jiang Rao hesitated but drank it. The result was immediate and inevitable. Li Zhao feared both our death and our survival. He could not bear that someone closest to him might be the one he hated most. He knew I wasn't a shaman. My survival would only deepen his guilt. In truth, Duyu had been developed by my mother, consorting. Li Zhao lost his mother young and was sent to consorting for upbringing. Consorting, an unpopular Miao shaman, had been a madwoman. Her homeland destroyed, she harbored hatred for the late emperor and cruelly tortured her children, Li Zhao and me, under the guise of experiments. I took the poisons meant for him, developing complete immunity over 15 years. I believed I bore the responsibility of the elder sister, that Li Zhao and I were close despite not being full siblings. Until a non-Qi assassin struck me, I realized how mistaken I had been. I held Li Zhao's wrist, softly, Ah Zhao, you know I won't die. I'm not a Miao shaman. I know, Ah Jia. I am sorry. I will care for you henceforth. Rarely did Li Zhao feel guilt, yet this time he did. Despite this, he could still have ordered my death for power. But now, immersed in our past, he forgot his cold nature. Seeing Jiang Rao, he turned only to find her alive. Her panic and blank eyes betrayed her system interaction. She hadn't taken the antidote, yet survived. I released his wrist, smiling at Jiang Rao. For the first time, fear shone in her eyes. The blood in my mouth had neutralized Duyu, my blood was the antidote. Li Zhao seized Jiang Rao by the neck, coldly, you are the shaman. You tried to harm me and my sister. You poisoner. Jiang Rao had no defense. Luckily, as Li Zhao's wrathful grip threatened her life, she still had a chance to return home, gambling that he might regret his actions. I knelt, appealing, "Your Majesty, spare her life. Li Qing is young, and a shaman's death leaves a cursed soul. Consider carefully." Li Zhao, haunted by his past slaughter of shamans, loosened his grip. "Take Jiang Rao to the cold palace. Poison her daily to torment her, she must live in misery. No escape for her soul. Dragged away, she cursed us both." Her predicted fate now fell upon her, karma had turned. Li Zhao embraced me, a stark change from earlier. "My sister, I only have you now. Do not leave me." I patted his back, smiling softly, "I will not leave, until you die, until I personally end you, I will not leave." From that day, I moved into the palace. Li Zhao, betrayed by Jiang Rao, had become paranoid. Trusting no one, he even doubted me at times, forsaking his long-maintained virtuous reputation, executing ministers for suspicion, wiping out entire families. I secretly administered dew in his incense burner, no one noticed. 6 months later, Li Zhao fell seriously ill, unable to rise. I was the only one he could rely upon, naturally becoming the acting princess regent. On the day Li Zhao would die, a snowy day reminiscent of the one when Ayul left, he reached out trembling to grab me. I pushed his frail hand aside, smiling, "Li Zhao, I will pass the throne to Li Qing." A secret, Li Qing is Pei Zhou and Lu Yin's child. Li Zhao's eyes widened, he could not speak. "The poison was my doing. You broke the pact, massacred Beiyue, I hated you from the start. I intended to kill you." His fingers twitched toward me. I smiled, "No one truly loved you, Li Zhao. You have nothing." His hand dropped. He died, eyes open, unfulfilled. I did not decapitate him, but I would never meet him again in my next life. Afterward, I went to the cold palace. Jiang Rao resembled a vengeful ghost, her gaze full of hatred. "Li Zhao is dead. I killed him." Jiang Rao froze, everything had changed, nothing followed the planned script. Her resentment turned into fear. "Who are you? You are not Li Zeng? You are also a traveler?" "I am Li Zeng. The Beiyue you tormented is my only home. I have nowhere else to return. Why should you go back?" I grasped her jaw, smiling, "Stay in hell with me, Jiang Rao." Ignoring her frantic struggles, I left. She could not rise, her frail hands could not grasp me. Jiang Rao survived 10 years, ultimately toppling a candle stand, setting the cold palace ablaze. That candle stand was placed by me. She knew what it meant, the sudden flame in the long dark palace, but she had no choice left. Even in death, she could not return to her world. Li Zhao had died before her, her mission failed. After Li Zhao's death, I ascended the throne as the first empress of Nanqi. Over 5 years, I purged the court, stabilized society, and raised Li Qing into a capable ruler. I had no desire for the throne or power. I wanted to return to my grasslands. In the 5th year of Yonghe, I abdicated. Li Qing became emperor, ruling wisely. Nanqi prospered under him. I returned to Beiyue, once scorched by war, now lush and green again. Wildfires could not extinguish the grass, spring winds revived it. I seemed to see the souls of Beiyue's people in the swaying grass, free and unbound. "Sister-in-law, can you ride a horse?" "Ah Zeng, shall I teach you archery? Our children of the grasslands are free. You can do whatever you wish, this is your home." The wind carried voices of old friends. The Beiyue palace was now ruins, no trace of the past remained. I rode to the ancient tree where Ayul's head was buried, retrieving the curved blade hung on its branch. I did not know where death led, but I believed someone awaited me there, to bring me back to the free, true home of the grasslands.